We're here for the Charlotte flight.
Gotta go.
I'm sorry, guys. The flight's full. You're too late.
We're not late.
Can't get you on it. Hey!
Tonight, the road to Indianapolis gets a dose of Southern hospitality as the drivers of the Pep Boys Indy Racing League head into NASCAR country.
Coming to Charlotte, to me, is almost like the stock cars going to Indianapolis.
Whatever it takes to get there, these drivers mean business, as all roads lead to the bright lights of Charlotte, North Carolina.
I love the night. I mean, especially with these cars. It seems like everything just gets electrified.
The lights at night make it more exciting. I mean, you can sense the speed better. Being inside the car, I think, is great.
You've got your ticket. Now come on board. Just get there. Grab a seat and strap in for the wildest ride you've ever been on at better than 220 miles an hour. It's the Pep Boys Indy Racing League on the high banks of Charlotte next. After stops in Orlando and Phoenix, we're in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's the third race of the season for the Pep Boys Indy Racing League, the VisionAire 500K from the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dave Calabro, along with the race expert, Jack Root, is here with me. Jack, these high banks here tonight mean high-speed drama.
Dave, in addition to that, I think we're going to see a brand new Scott Goodyear. Back on March 28th, Goodyear ended a winless streak that stretched into well beyond 20 races in IRL competition. That victory has given a new enthusiasm to Scott and his entire Pennzoil Panther crew. It has also put him atop the point standings. He leads Ward, Cheever, Sharp, and Dismore. But now, what about the guy that led the point standings into the championship last year? Well, it was at Lowe's Motor Speedway that Kenny Breck started the first of 3 consecutive victories. His win here in the night back in July was back-to-back with one at Pikes Peak and then Atlanta. But this year, well, all the good luck's turned to bad. First, the confrontation with Walter Salas and a crash into the concrete. Then in Phoenix, trying to get a jump on a restart. Goes by Steve Knapp, crashes into him. Another close encounter of the concrete kind. And those two DNFs have left Kenny Breck mired back in that 27th position. Now joining and working with us tonight is a 2-time winner of the Indy 500, Ari Leyendijk. And Ari, the first 2 races were on 1-mile ovals. Here we're on a high-banked, 4-cornered, 1.5-mile oval, and it's all about speed.
And that's definitely what happened last night in qualifying. A lot of speed. First it was Scott Sharp who set the mark in qualifying, but then it was this man, Greg Ray and Team Menards Dallara, who came out and only had a one-lap shot to get the pole, and he did. And he did that in 222 miles an hour lap, 222.039, and set a new qualifying record at the Charlotte Motor Speedway here. And tonight we're going to see a lot of close racing, a lot of dicing, a lot of wheel-to-wheel. Exciting stuff, but the key to success tonight is going to get your car to work through turns 3 and 4. It's a very bumpy area of the racetrack, and that's what's really important for the guys, to get the car to work well there so they can get good momentum coming off of turn 4.
All right, we're prepared to go racing, so stay with us right here on Speed Vision, the VisionAire 500K green flag, and we'll show you the starting grid when we come back. Tonight's Pep Boys Indy Racing League event, the VisionAire 500K, is sponsored in part by the VisionAire Corporation, home of the Vantage, the world's first single-engine composite business jet. By Pennzoil with Pure Base, made for the way you drive. Stop, go, Pennzoil. By Pep Boys, cars like us, people love us. And by Firestone, America's tire since 1900. And welcome to Charlotte, North Carolina, the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. We are prepared for tonight's event, the VisionAire 500K, and now the Grand Marshal with the famous Command Academy Award winner, Cliff Robertson. TV and movie stars here for Gentlemen, Start Your Engines.
This is a line I've always wanted to say in a movie or anywhere. Gentlemen, start your engines.
legends come to life now as we prepare to go racing. This is the event tonight. 208 laps, 312 miles. That's what will compete the VisionAire 500K. There's the pole sitter, Greg Ray, who set a new track record. Top 22 drivers qualify within 1 second. Another tight grid. And now it's time to take a look at the lineup with Jack Arute and Arie Luyendyk.
In qualifying last evening, Scott Sharp held the pole until the last car went out. That man was Greg Ray, and it knocked Scotty to the outside of row number 1. There'll be more than pushing and shoving when they drop the green flag.
Phoenix winner and points leader Scott Goodyear in 3rd place. And hey, where's your cape, Elvis? Oh, that's not Elvis, that's Sam Smith. And he's from Vegas in 4th place.
Jeff Ward and Davey Hamilton both share high aspirations for this evening's performance. Neither of them have won on the Pep Boys Indy Racing League, but both of them look to turn that around tonight.
Row 4, the big guy, Tars Carlson. He might have lost 35 pounds last winter, but he's still the man, the big man in the IRL. Alongside him, Mark Dismore, looking for a good race tonight.
The 5th row may be the shortest row in Pep Boys Indy Racing League competition. Both drivers commanded under 5'7". Both, though, are veterans of sprint cars and midgets, and both have a lead foot.
Row 6, Stan Waddles had a scary moment in qualifying, but still managed to put it right there alongside Andy Michner, driving the Soul, Riley and Scott chassis in the IRL.
Row 7 finds a rookie and a veteran. Buddy Lazier, a winner in '97 here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Robbie McGee, complete with a new sponsor, Energizer. He hopes the bunny will keep him going and going and going.
Row 8, Robbie Buell, he's smiling, he's happy. He got married a month ago and he's still smiling and happy. Next to him, Johnny Unser, displaying some of the Tybo of his new sponsor.
The 9th row is filled with former winners. Buzz Calkins, the co-champion of the inaugural season of the IRL, and Eddie Cheever reminds us he's still number 1 until they run the 83rd running at the Indy 500.
10th row, Robbie Unser, last year's Rookie of the Year, and Raul Boisel still looking for that first win in an IndyCar. These guys weren't happy with their qualifying effort. Cheer up, guys. See ya.
The 11th row finds Kenny Brack coming back to the scene of the beginning of his run for the championship, the Lowe's Motor Speedway. John Paul Jr. loves the 1.5 milers as well. He was victorious at Texas last year.
Row 12, Salazar and rookie Brokowski. I hope these guys get more excited tonight. Good luck, fellas.
In the 13th row, Scott Harrington hopes to bookend his fine finish at Phoenix with another one here in North Carolina. For Roberto Moreno, well, Harrington will polish up his dome and try to cut down on the drag.
And the final row for tonight's race, Stefan Gregoire and John Hollingsworth. Both no qualifying run, but they only can go forward from here.
So you've had a chance to meet the characters, the competitors in tonight's race. There's Greg Ray warming up the machine. We will have 4 warm-up laps tonight. Now, a couple of gentlemen who will be hustling down in the pit area to stay on top of the stories for us is Vince Welsh and Calvin Fish. First, let's start off with Vince Welsh. Good evening, Vince.
Thanks, Dave. Greg Ray starts from the pole tonight. It's the 3rd straight race this season that he started from the front row, but his results have not been up to par. He's finished 21st the first 2 races of the season. Team manager Thomas Knapp told me tonight, he said, we're not concerned about that. We know we're fast. Our car and driver combination is good. The results will come probably starting tonight. Remember, Greg Ray also led the field from the pole position at Phoenix, but he missed a shift coming down for the green flag, and he fell back. Look for a smoother shift from Ray tonight. He'll be the rabbit in the field. Calvin Fish?
Well, Vince, track temperatures are currently 65 degrees. That's about 20 degrees cooler than the guys practiced in this afternoon. That means for the Goodyear runners, a lot of them have gone for the optional tires, a much softer compound. The concern now is whether the right rear will last. Fuel window's about 45 laps. That's a lot of laps to put on that right rear with the soft compound. It's going to be interesting to watch and see if they have to switch back to this primary tire.
All right, Calvin Fish, some great information about the weather conditions. And what are the weather conditions tonight? Well, temperature hovering at 67 degrees. There's the humidity, the wind at 20 miles an hour. It's been gusty most of the afternoon, but the skies are clearing. We had some sunshine this afternoon, and we are prepared to go at it right here. Now, Arie Luyendyk, 2-time Indy 500 champion in the booth with us. Arie, good evening.
Good evening.
To see you once again, and I'm excited about this event.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a great race. We've had a couple of races here in the last 2 years, and they've been both really exciting races to watch. A lot of wheel to wheel. Sometimes you'll be driving next to a guy, and you know, you'll be wheel to wheel with him, and you just stay there for lap after lap, and it's whoever gives up first. But you could drive around.
Dave, the reason that the cars are going down pit road is so that they can judge where the speed is to get onto pit road and get on safely. $1 million up for grabs tonight. Woo, that's a lot of money in any place, even in the heartland of NASCAR.
All right, we have 7 in-car cameras for your enjoyment tonight. In the back of the field, this is Kenny Brack, who's going to have to charge up. We'll keep an eye on Kenny Brack starting 21st here tonight. All right, let's move up in the field. This is Raul Boisel starting 20th.
Boisel did not have a real good qualifying effort, but they seem to think that maybe they're a little down on horsepower, but they're going to soldier on tonight.
Also, another in-car camera view for you tonight is this
Buddy Lazier. Buddy Lazier had a great warm-up, as Ron Hamilton alluded to, and they feel very confident. Of course, Buddy won the race 2 years ago, so he really likes this place.
Yeah, congratulations to Buddy. He's a new father, so it's got an exciting time for him. Also, one of the other in-car cameras we'll have for you tonight up front, Mark Dismore, 8th position.
Now, Dismore had a real good qualifying run at the last race we were at, but a disappointing 200 miles. But today, starting in 8th position, a little more accustomed to that, and he likes the high speed.
This is Sam Smith, my teammate for the upcoming Indianapolis 500. Sam did a great job of qualifying 4th, and he was happy after the warm-up, so look for a good race from him.
And the Pennzoil Panther, starting 3rd. We talked about the fact that there's a whole new attitude with this group. Scott Goodyear found it interesting that he said that he tries to adjust to nighttime racing and by sleeping in a little later.
And starting 2nd tonight, there he is, Scott Sharp. And we're prepared for the start of the VisionAire 500K. Jim Rice, the chairman and CEO of VisionAire Corporation, will lead us to the green flag. And the key here is making sure the tire temperatures go up.
Watch for Cheever to make a break quick. He was 2nd quickest in the last practice.
Watching now.
And a spin just before the green. That's Davey Hamilton right there, and he collected, it looks like Tyce Carlson, so already we'll have a yellow out here and no green flag. So these laps that are going to be run under yellow are not going to count for the race.
All right, we were just talking about the temperatures of the tires. Obviously a key here early on, man.
Well, that's exactly right, and we heard a lot of guys warm up their tires, doing their burnouts, as we spoke about earlier. But, you know, some guys, these guys might not have done it, we don't know, but...
Disappointment for Tyce Carlson. He went to Phoenix with that new team, the Blueprint Imke Racing team, lost the weight as we talked about, and he came here really with the eye of the tiger. He felt that he could now race for a win, and it just didn't go his way. And you know, they call it the disappointment and the agony. And you don't even take the green flag, especially when you had such high expectations as this young man from Indiana had.
He has been working so hard, and you can see that Davey Hamilton is staying in that number 25 car right now. And see some damage there. Let's go down to Calvin Fish. He's got an update for us, Calvin.
I'm with the team manager for Tyce, Greg Beck. What happened there on the start?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I didn't really see what happened. I just saw Tyce and Davey come down. They looked like they were hooked together. I really can't say.
These low ambient temperatures, low track temperatures are a concern for the drivers. Was anything mentioned in the driver's briefing?
Oh, absolutely. That was every other word. Cold tires, let's have a safe start. Again, I'm not exactly sure what happened. We've been careful all weekend. It's a shame it all ended right here.
Well, a lot of horsepower on tap, guys, and certainly caught out a couple of the drivers in the early going.
All right, some great hustle going on down there to get you the latest information. Here's Tyce Carlson. Let's go and see if we can see exactly what happened here.
Now, first of all, watch right in this area, because that's where it's going to begin to unfold. The Petro Molly car of Robbie Unser comes around as he began to accelerate. He doesn't hit anything, but in a reaction, all of a sudden, hey, next thing we knew, Tyce Carlson and the 25 car were spinning. Taking a look from another angle, now these are the two cars that are going to spin, accelerating. Davey Hamilton begins to accelerate. No relationship to the Robbie Unser incident, and collects Hamilton and Carlson.
It was Davey Hamilton who spun out, collected Tyce Carlson, but a little bit of chain reaction down the field caused Robbie Unser to spin out as well. And Bragg just got by that.
Now let's go down to Vince Welsh, who's got another update on the incident. Vince?
Well, I talked to Robbie Unser right before the cars and the drivers were gridded tonight. He said, I've never run here before. I just want to be conservative. I want to bring it home in one piece and get points going to Indianapolis. He said, first and foremost, I want to stay out of trouble. Obviously, it didn't work out that way for Robbie Unser tonight, already in an accident before the green flag.
All right, thank you, Vince. Robbie Unser back underway. There's the damage to the Davey Hamilton car, the VisionAire 500K. We will have the start coming up from the Lowe's Motor Speedway. It's the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. Welcome back, the VisionAire 500K. We are waiting for the start of this race, and right now we've already had an accident. Let's go down to Calvin Fish. Calvin?
The number 25 car of Davey Hamilton is in the pits right now. The crew goes to work. They put some fuel in the car. Major concern with the rear bodywork. He's really torn a hole in the left side part, and it's really damaged the underwing. They believe they could tape up the side part. I think the underwing is more of a concern. Certainly it is dragging on the ground as he came into pit lane, and it's really going to take a lot of the downforce away, Ari, if he does get back on track.
Well, that's right, Calvin. I mean, if they start taping that stuff up, it's not going to stay there because of tape, because the downforce that these cars create is so much that a little bit of tape will not help there. So to me personally, I would park it because it's dangerous going out there like that, and that should be the wise thing to do. And Tyce Carlson's car is on the hook, and he's out of the race. He was really a victim of Davey Hamilton's spin out on cold tires there.
Tough for that 28-year-old who really had such high hopes here. His best finish was 11th in his first appearance, that being Tyce Carlson. Now let's go back. We talked about Robbie Unser beginning to accelerate. He'll be in the right-hand side of your screen in the silver and red car. Does a 360, but it's not related to what happens a little further up in this field to Davey Hamilton and Tyce Carlson. Now let's see if we can show you those two cars. They're right here. Watch carefully. Davey Hamilton will spin first. Begins to accelerate. And collects Tyce Carlson. Now let's ride on board at speed, and you'll get a feel, as we watch with Kenny Breck, exactly what it's like to begin to accelerate and have everything break loose in front of you.
That's Robbie Unser spinning in front of him there because they were way back in the field. Totally separate incident.
All right, let's go to Vince Welsh. Has an update on Mr. Unser.
Well, Unser indeed made the comment on his radio that someone had gotten squirrely in front of him, and that caused him to spin on the cold tires. But no damage to the car. In fact, just talked to the crew members. They're not even going to bring Robbie Unser into the pits. Tires are good. He's back in line and going to get in the field for the start.
Unser has added longtime expert Mr. King, John King, to that team, and we're looking at possibly going back green the next time around as the Aurora Oldsmobile pace car continues to lead the field around. There's Greg Ray, and you see the signal now from the Pep Boys Indy Racing League officials with the finger in the air, the number 1. Next time around, we will go green. The start of the VisionAire 500K. This is the 3rd event of the season. Scott Goodyear coming off the win at Phoenix, and now we're under the lights, and should be pretty exciting tonight.
You know, Dave, under caution, these are the first laps that Greg Ray has led in Pep Boys Indy Racing League competition in 1999, despite the fact that he's got 2 poles.
That is amazing. It's currently 22nd in the IRL points. Now on the backstretch, setting up for turn 3. We should mention we have a great crowd on hand. The weather has not been ideal the past couple of days, but everybody's out in force tonight to see the stars of the Pep Boys Indy Racing League as they prepare to go green. Let's enjoy it now as they fire up those machines coming out of turn 4. It's the start of the VisionAire 500K. Let's enjoy it.
Clean start this time. The guys have run several laps on the yellow have done a couple of burnouts, getting hit those rear tires. I was wrong when I said there was no green. There was a green flag, so now we're heading into lap 10 of the race.
10 laps complete now. Greg Ray stretching it out just a tad now.
On board with the Delphi machine of Scott Sharp, and we'll give you a look telemetry-wise what the drivers encounter as they go down into the corners. You want to talk about G-forces? Well, here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, you can see the throttle. Ari, 200 miles an hour and 9,800 RPM. That's a little low this early in the race when the rev limiter set at 10.3.
Well, the cool thing about racing at night is during the day, obviously, you don't have the dashboard lit up, but at night, they have a light in there, and the dashboard is lit up, and the drivers can see their lap time as they flash by the start-finish line every lap. But these guys are kind of getting into a rhythm now, and it won't take long before they get into the rhythm and go racing hard.
Watching now, Greg Ray in first place, Sharp is second, Goodyear now third, and Jeff Ford riding in fourth place. The VisionAire 500K, 312 miles, and that's the key right now, just settling in for the grind.
You know, it's a lot like a heavyweight fight. You want to go in, maybe spar a little bit, and that early yellow has probably changed things. Greg Ray is really increasing his lead over Scott Sharp. And, you know, they said that this might be the race. Right from Orlando, Greg Ray and his crew said the first couple of races we're going to play it easy, and then we're going to add the heat, add the whip, because the next race is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the 500. But right there is a heck of a battle going on for third place. The silver and red car is Jeff Ward, and he's challenging the Pennzoil Panther car, the yellow one of Scott Goodyear.
Some excellent racing going on right now.
Boy, look how close they run. You're riding out of the back of the Pennzoil Panther car, and he's being challenged for that position by Jeff Ward. Ward tries the outside.
Ward's getting a great run on him now, and this is the move right here. He's going to go around the outside and hope it sticks. And it sticks.
So far. Oh, man, do they
trying to make the move now, see if he can finish him off. And what a story Jeff Ward has been.
And what could happen here is, but it's not going to happen. Scott Goodyear could stay right next to him, and they could drive around like that for 4 or 5 laps. Scott Goodyear, sorry.
Now we'll watch our leader, the race leader, closing in on traffic as he comes out of turn 2. The leader, Greg Ray.
The traffic directly in front of him is the Scott Harrington machine, Infinity Power. And let's check in with Calvin Fish real quick.
The Barnhart Gallus team have brought the number 25 machine back to the garage area to effect repairs. Davey Hamilton is out of the car. Davey, what happened when you went to the gas?
I just lost it. You know, I mean, it's very cold out there. And, you know, during the warm-up laps, I spun the tires. I thought I had plenty of heat in them. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of laps this weekend, and it just caught me out, and I made a mistake.
It's going to be a concern as we actually get some caution periods and go back to green throughout the event. It's only going to get colder tonight.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some stuff on after the yellow flags when guys put new tires on if they don't have a chance to warm them up. Like I said, we had a fair amount of heat in them and still got away from me, so just one of those mistakes.
Tough break for Davey Hamilton.
All right, and back on the track, the leader continues to be Greg Ray, racing middle of the pack. Another battle we're watching, Buddy Lazier.
We're on board with Mark Dismore, the MCI World Cup car, being shown back in the 7th position. Now here's where things are starting to get a little dicey, Dave, because a driver like Dismore is battling the car just a bit.
Buddy Lazier is one of those guys right now that also moved up quite a bit, but Dismore, I just can't get a grip on right now how his car is feeling. Looking at his hands, Buddy Lazier has moved up quite a bit. He's closing in right now on Sam Schmidt.
Buddy Lazier started in 14th position, climbing into the top 10 early on. Lazier in 6th place now, 91 the car number.
Look at his hands move. Look at his hands just go when he goes over those bumps. His hands are all over the place. His car looks like a handful, but he's really he's got a good car right now.
Hey, in the meantime, there is a real battle going up for 2nd position. Greg Ray, right there in your yellow car, continues to lead. He has a sizable advantage, but behind him in 2nd position is Jeff Ward in the Mitch Davis tuned Pagan racing car. As we continue to watch people dicing and slicing, as we say, Goodyear is fading backwards. Billy Boat just pulled in front of Goodyear to take over that 6th spot.
Oh yeah, Scott Goodyear is a great example of how you can go backwards if your car is not handling. Right now, Scott went all the way back to 6th place in a couple of laps. And Buddy Lazier, who's on a tear, he's up in 5th place, starting in 14th position.
Boy, this really keeps your attention. Let's watch him go now. Buddy Lazier. Lazier was in 6th place. Battling up now for 4th position. He continues to climb. Started 14th.
And the car directly in front of him is Scott Sharp. That's a battle for position. Sharp is being shown in the 3rd spot.
And Ron Hemmelgarn was right when he said we're very confident because these guys come from 14th to 4th, challenging for 3rd right now. And he's not going to stop there.
Hey, guys, I told you to watch Cheever with the new Infinity Power Plant. He's halved his starting spots into the top 10.
You know, there's so much stuff going on this 1.5 mile oval track that we can't keep track of it. Just imagine how busy these guys are out there.
I thought we were busy. There is the Children's Beverage Group number 51 for Eddie Cheever, the defending Indy 500 champion. We told you, brand new Infinity power plant. He won in Orlando and in Aurora, but he's elected to go with Infinity, and he's put it into 10th position after starting 18th.
Eddie Cheever, always a challenger, very confident in the move of changing engines so close to the Indy 500, and so far it has worked out for him.
Cheever has always said that the most important thing about a driver is not qualifying. For him, it's about the race. He says that's where the bulk of the $1 million is.
Now, Buddy Lazier's battling for second position right now. He continues to climb, chasing Mr. Ward now.
Lazier is in third place.
Okay.
And that guy in front of him right there is Jeff Ward. And let's have a look and see if he closes in, how long that will take him to get there. But he's on a move.
Well, rookie Mike Borkowski, this has got to be an unscheduled pit stop for the PDM Icehouse racing team, because they should not be into the pits until about lap 40.
That looks like they might have had a puncture or something. They changed tires, filled up the fuel, and we didn't see any other work being done to the car.
185 laps to go. Buddy Lazier, the Charger right now, 14th, climbed all the way up to 3rd. Greg Ray is the leader. Jeff Ward in second position.
Lazier won the inaugural race here at the Indy Racing League as they unveiled themselves back in 1997. But he's not had good luck since then on the 1.5-mile ovals. But tonight he's done very well. And Vince, is there a reason for this newfound power?
Well, they were confident from day one, rolling off the truck, that they had a good car for this racetrack. Obviously, they won here in '97. Buddy Lazier told me we've got a great race car. Ron Himmelgarn said we've got a great race car. And Buddy particularly likes these 1.5-mile tracks. They had an excellent setup on full tanks during practice today. So I can tell you for sure that Ron Himmelgarn and Buddy Lazier are not surprised that he has moved to the front of the field.
Well, Vince, he's just moved into second position. How do you like that? Ward is overcome now by Buddy Lazier, and he'll set his sights on Greg Ray. So we have some great racing coming your way. We hope you'll stay with us. Pep Boys Indy Racing League action under the lights. The VisionAire 500K. We'll be back right after this. I hope you'll stay with us. Welcome back. It's exciting Pep Boys Indy Racing League action. The VisionAire 500 from Charlotte, North Carolina, here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Greg Ray is your race leader, and it's a situation taking place with Jeff Ward. He had climbed all the way up to second place. Then Buddy Lazier climbed up and took over second place, and there he is. Let's go to the pit area for an update. What has happened to Jeff Ward? Here's Vince Wells.
Chief mechanic Mitch Davis. Mitch, why did you bring him in under green? You were running so strongly.
We were running really fast. He got a wiggle in the car. We didn't know if we had a tire going down. We cut a tire or something, so we came in just so we don't hit the wall.
Even under the green, you wanted to be sure.
Yeah, at 220 miles an hour, if you think you got a puncture, you got to bring him in.
That's Mitch Davis. Look for Jeff Ward to move his way back to the front, though. They're very confident in his car here tonight.
Yeah, it's a wise thing to do. I mean, if the driver thinks there's a problem with his car, you got to come in. I mean, these walls are very unforgiving at these speeds. And it looked like he got loose there, too.
Now we're working some heavy race traffic. There's your leader right there, Greg Ray. He's going to have to slice through this traffic, and this is going to be an advantage for Buddy Lazier. Lazier has begun to close on your leader. Things are going to get tight. And how about Billy Boat in third spot?
Billy Boat charging. He was not very happy at all with what was happening with his qualifying run, but he has a great race day set up, and it's working under the lights right now. And Vince Welsh is standing by with the great A.J. Foyt.
Ashley Calman, but A.J. Billy's made a great run, started 9th up to 3rd. How's that Roush horsepower?
Well, everything's going pretty good right now. We've just got a long ways to go, and so far everything's good.
Okay, well, A.J.'s pretty comfortable. Kenny's a little further back in the pack, guys, but Billy's certainly on the move right now.
Calvin Fish referred to Roush horsepower. This is the first race for A.J. Foyt. He used to run K-Tech engines. Now he runs for Roush power plants.
And there's the race leader right there, settling in. He's had a great start so far. Greg Ray was running some laps at over 220 miles an hour early in the race. And look who's back in the pits. Here comes Jeff Ward.
Yeah, we saw a wiggle from Jeff Ward coming through 3 and 4 over those bumps, and he's got a handling problem, severe problem. And they might have to look at engine mounts or things like that. They're checking everything out.
Let's check him with Vince.
Well, his rear end is scooting all over the place, so they're not sure what's wrong, but they wanted to bring him in just to find out. Right now, they're checking all the suspension, making sure that the tires are on firmly, but there's a question as to the handling of this car. Obviously, things are not good for Jeff Ward. Let's go back in the Lazier area.
Buddy Lazier has now shrank the lead to less than 2 seconds over Greg Ray. That traffic has cost Ray really dearly, and he's being really buffeted.
Oh, yeah, but, you know, when you look at Buddy here, you say, man, that car doesn't look like it's handling at all, but he's handling really good. A lot of kickback in the steering wheel, but Buddy's just going like gangbusters here tonight. And he's seeing, Tony, he's seeing Greg Ray right now. He can see him, and he's just going for him.
If you've just tuned in, 38 laps completed so far. Greg Ray is your race leader. Lazier is in second place. Billy Boat has climbed all the way up to third. Sam Schmidt now riding in fourth. And in fifth position, it's Scott Goodyear. So things are really panning out nicely right now for Greg Ray, but this guy's on the charts.
You see that car right there? That's the leader.
And we've got a yellow crash on the race course right now, out of turn 2. Contact is made with Mr. Unser, hitting the wall. Most importantly, he's climbing out of the machine. Robbie Unser hits the wall, lap 39.
You can see the disgust in Robbie Unser because, as our pit guy said, all he wanted to do in this race was finish. He's not going to.
I think we're going to see some pit stops coming our way here pretty soon. The pits are closed right now. As soon as they open, I have a feeling that the guys will come into the pit.
So we'll go under caution here on lap 40, under the lights here in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Lowe's Motor Speedway. And we're glad you've joined us here for this race this evening. And the weather conditions improved greatly. You would have told me 24 hours ago we're going to be racing. Well, we weren't quite sure what was going to happen with all the rain that came down.
Now, this yellow is really going to help Buddy Lazier because he was burning down the track.
Hey, buddy, after you pack up,
Ari was actually faster than Greg Ray. His last lap speed was 211 miles an hour under green. You know what Greg Ray turned? 207. So watch for Lazier in the Coors Light Silver Bullet. He's going to come out on this restart.
What I saw out there is that when Greg Ray came up to a bunch of cars, he backed out of it, and he didn't feel comfortable going in there. And I think that Buddy Lazier is very strong in traffic.
Let's go back and take a look at Robbie Unser's problem as he came out of turn number 4. Again, the car just gets away from him. Some parts and pieces were actually flying off the car.
What's coming out of turn 2? The left rear is flat right here, but it's after hitting the wall and after him getting on the brakes really hard to slow down the car.
Let's go back and look, and let's look up in this area to see if there's any debris that comes off the car before it comes around. The tire is already down. The tire is already down. It was indeed a flat that may have caused the accident.
We're under yellow right now, and you can imagine the pits will be very, very busy on lap 40. And here comes the race leader, and everybody else follows. They go to work now. Calvin Fish is there as they go to work. Calvin?
Greg Ray comes into his pit stop. Looks like a routine stop so far. I spoke to Tom Knapp, the crew chief. He said everything's fine, no changes made. Greg Ray out of here. Quick pit stop, guys.
That was nice work. Now we'll watch the Panther Pennzoil team going to work right here.
What's happening for Greg Ray is Greg Ray may not get out of the pits quick enough. The purple car directly in front of him is Buddy Lazier. Lazier has won the battle not on the racetrack, but on pit road.
Oh, yeah, and that's just the easiest way to pass the guys when your guy in the pits really help you out, just get you in and out, you know, that quick. So a great stop by Helmergarn Racing here, and he's ahead of him right now. We're not sure if he's the leader.
14 turns on the wing track.
Boy, that's some serious work, huh? We're enjoying the VisionAire 500K here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. 41 laps complete as cleanup continues out of turn 2. We can tell you that Robbie Unser is okay, but he is definitely out of the race. And Davey Hamilton also out of the race as well, along with Tice Carlson after an early accident in this race. So we're racing under the lights, and the leader right now is Buddy Lazier. Billy Boat has climbed up as well, along with Sam Schmidt. We'll have more action. Hope you'll stay with us. Pep Boys Indy Racing League action, the VisionAire 500K after 43 laps under the lights here in Charlotte. Buddy Lazier has charged to the front from 14th. Greg Ray is second. Goodyear now in third. Sam Schmidt fourth, and Scott Sharp riding in fifth position.
Now, as good as Buddy Lazier's pit is as bad as the third place man, Billy Boat's pit was. Watch these guys right here trying to get the air jack in. They were delayed there. Now they're trying to get it back out, as well as the fuel nozzle. And they're having severe problems, and time is ticking off. And everybody just goes by. Vince?
Well, we found out the problem with Jeff Ward, broken sway bar. You see the sway bar and the way it's pieced together here, but it came completely apart. Thankfully, Mitch Davis had the team's backup car just behind the pit area, so they ran over, exchanged the sway bars, and now Ward is back out on the track. Also, between Robbie Buell's team and Mark Dismore's team, they thought that there was one driver cutting off the other in the pits. The two teams exchanged heated words in the heat of the battle. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Vince, the car's coming out of turn 4. The Aurora pace car pulls down. The green is back out. Let's sit back and enjoy the restart.
It's going to be quite an exciting race here with Buddy Lazier out in front, Greg Ray right behind him right now, and Greg Ray wants to have that position back because he's the guy that did not finish the first 2 races. He needs to be up front. He wants to win this race.
So if you're in this position right now, you want to be back up front even though it's early in the race?
I'd like to be back up front if I were Greg Ray because I need every point I can get. Leading the most laps in the race will give you an extra point as well.
And look at Donnie Beechler now. Beechler's climbed to 7th position.
But Buddy Lazier is the man of the hour right now. And there are cars all over this racetrack engaged in battles. But for the Delta Faucett Coors Light purple car, as you look out the back, you can get a taste of just how close Greg Ray is to the rear wing of Buddy Lazier.
And if you look at these two, they have significant different lines going through 3 and 4. Buddy is driving pretty high on the racetrack. And if you could do it in 3 and 4 with the bumps there, it means that you have a good race car.
Buddy Lazier makes the difference with the Himmelgarn team in the pits. He's in first position. Goodyear went from 2nd to 3rd. And look at this challenge on the inside. Greg Ray says, hey, fella, I'm the pole sitter. Now we look at Buddy Lazier's cars. He gives up first position now.
Not for long. He's coming back at it.
Oh, this is some great wheel-to-wheel battling right here.
There you go. He's back. Whoa! My goodness.
So close. That was less than an inch and a half away. Buddy Lazier has battled back, Dave.
All right, does that get your attention?
That was too close. I don't think Buddy knew he was that close.
Harry used to call those what?
Those are moments.
That was a moment, all right.
That could have been a real bad moment. That really, really good. They missed each other there.
Buddy Lazier now. There's his stretching the lead.
And I think
finish line.
I think Greg Ray said, you know what? I'm just going to let Buddy lead here for a while.
That's right.
I'll see you a little bit later.
158 laps to go. And Donnie Beechler back to 5th position now. There goes Greg Ray.
Oh, boy. Eddie Cheever is doing it again, starting in 18th place. Eddie is in 4th place right now. And he's 5.8 seconds behind the leader. And he's looking.
There he is.
Cheever in the blue, yellow striped, and purple, or actually blue top and red stripe in the middle of your screen. He started, as we said, with a brand new power plant now, Infinity, beneath the hood of the Children's Beverage number 51. And how about Donnie Beechler in the black car? Your guy, Sam Schmidt, has just gone by Beechler to take over the 5th spot. And it looks like Schmidt is going to take a beat as we ride on board with Sam Schmidt. It looks like Cheever and Schmidt are going to be engaged in the battle here shortly.
That's right. There's Sam Schmidt following Eddie Cheever. And these guys are pretty close to Scott Goodyear as well.
Battling for 4th position right now. Sam Schmidt is in 5th position. That's who we're riding with right now, and he's trying to climb up into 4th.
Now, for the unaccustomed to IndyCar racing, you may look at this and say, hey, this isn't a battle for position. But if you're this close, you're in the slipstream of these cars. And I'll tell you what, you can get a stab and steer and take that position at any time.
We just saw Sam Schmidt there in the left-hand side. In the left-hand side of the car, he was working on something, which is the weight jacker. There's a control knob right here. He turns it to the left and gives him more crossweight to the left. Sam is battling, I would think, understeer. The car doesn't want to turn in that good. And he's changing it right here, as you can see, on the left.
He continues to closing in on Eddie Cheever right now. Cheever in 3rd. Buddy Lazier still the race leader. There's Cheever to the left of your screen. Now, let's go back to the front of the pack, and there's the leader right there, Lazier and Greg Ray. Now we're looking at Buddy Lazier's car.
Anytime you're running in 2nd place, like Greg Ray is doing right here, he looks ahead of him, and he can see traffic coming up. That's the time where he's thinking, now the leader is going to be held up by the traffic. This is my time to make a move. That's what he's looking at each time he sees traffic ahead.
On the backside of Buddy Lazier's car, let's get an update from Calvin Fish.
I just spoke to Ron Hamilton, and they said that Buddy is running the primary Goodyear tire. This is a little harder tire compound. This is why they felt he qualified relatively poorly. An update on the sister car, the number 92 car, driven by Johnny Unson for the first time this year. They had an electrical problem. They burnt some wiring. They've replaced it. He's back on track. Vince Welch has another story further down pit lane.
A couple of pit reports on those recent stops. First of all, for the third place team of Scott Goodyear, they just put in one turn of wing. They like the car. They're just being patient. They're on the lead lap and running towards the front. Dick Karen told me that when Eddie Cheever came in, they simply changed tire pressure. Again, he's happy with the car. They moved to the front, and for now, it's just wait and see what happens with the leaders.
All right, thank you, Vince. Eddie Cheever now looking low on the yellow car. That's the Pennzoil machine. Back on board with Sam Schmidt.
That's for third place.
And that is a battle directly in front of him for the third position. Scott Goodyear is in the yellow car as he goes into one and weaving back and forth. All Sam Schmidt sees is Eddie Cheever in the red and blue car, and he's in the fourth spot. So those three cars are engaged in a torrid battle, guys.
Scott Goodyear, Panther Pennzoil. That's the view from what's behind him right now as he looks in the mirrors and see some sparks popping up right there.
That's the car bottoming out still. The car is still relatively full of fuel in these laps.
You'll notice in the background audio, you'll hear some noise. That's the radio traffic with Scott Goodyear talking to his crew in the pit area.
Buddy Lazier, in the meantime, has pulled to a 3-second lead over Greg Ray. Buddy is a former member of the U.S. ski team, and until he decided to get bit by the racing bug, many people in the Vail, Colorado area thought that Buddy Lazier would be an Olympian. That's not the case. You can't see. Well, you can. Oh, there's Greg Ray all the way back there. And, you know, you're covering this racetrack at 220 miles an hour.
We have a big accident in turn 4 right now. A big accident coming out of turn 4. And some serious fire coming out of Stan Waddle's car. Serious flames coming out of the machine.
John Paul Jr. as well.
So a heavy hit coming out of turn 4 right now. John Paul Jr. involved along with Stan Waddles, and they both come to a stop. This is Stan Waddles climbing out of the car right now.
That fire that you saw, though, was an oil fire. No, well, you could be a little concerned, but because these cars run methanol, you wouldn't see that fire, and that's generally from breaking oil lines. So that was good news.
This was a horrific crash because you could hear the impact. John Paul made a big impact in turn 4, and but he's moving. He's nodding his head, and that's good news.
Crew's on the scene quickly, and we were just talking about how Buddy Lazier had just started to stretch his lead and really pull away. This will help Greg Ray.
Right now, there's a little bit of confusion going on. We got a lot of guys going through the pits because they don't want to run through the debris there, and they don't want to cut their tires. And there's guys running out on the racetrack, so the pace car will have to pick up the leader here pretty soon.
So the race leader makes it through the traffic. This is Buddy Lazier's view as he collects the pace car now and finds his way through all the debris as they come through turn 4.
Let's go back and take a look at this accident because it got our attention. Way up there is when they first got into the wall. Both cars, Waddle in the yellow car. What a big hit in the secondary hit. Flashes the fire. Likewise for John Paul. That's when the oil lines broke.
It's on camera 9. It's on 9.
This is after the crash, but what I saw on that first replay was I saw sparks coming from John Paul's car before he hit the wall. There's a possibility that John Paul had a major problem before he hit the wall. And that looks really bad, and great that it went out right away.
That will get your attention. So Stan Waddles, Metro Racing now. They're checking out Stan Waddles as he sits on the front end of the car here. The VisionAire 500K, 62 laps complete. Buddy Lazier and Greg Ray battling up front right now. We have more exciting action coming up, and I hope you'll stay with us. Welcome back to the VisionAire 500K. John Paul Jr. climbing in the back of the ambulance, and he is okay. It's good to see him walking to the ambulance under his own power. This is the VisionAire 500K. I'm Dave Calambre along with Jack Root, R.A. Lyondike. You're looking at Stan Waddles right now. Down in the pit areas, Calvin Fish and Vince Welch covering this action here today. And a lot of things going on right now.
That's Scott Harrington because he was trying to get the car, his car, refired. They didn't refire. Now he's going to hustle back to pit road. Well, he actually went to pit road, and now he's going to go back out to his car. Needs just a little bit more speed to make it in time.
He's making quite an effort there. That's quite a long run.
Now let's go back and take a look at this accident. We're going to try and dissect it for you. Up in this area is where I want you to watch as we roll it. The first car will be a yellow car, and that will be Stan Waddles. Hold it. Stop. Right there. He has already hit the wall. Now roll it again. As a reaction to that, Ari.
Right there, John Paul Jr. also hits the wall, but to me it looks like he picked up a puncture because of the stuff laying on the track, because of the other car, and that's why he just went straight into the wall.
Let's go down to Vince Welsh, standing by with one of the team owners, Jonathan Bird.
Very astute analysis, Ari, because that's exactly what the spotters have told Jonathan Bird, that John Paul went through debris, and that's what caused him to crash. Jonathan Bird, a brand new race car for your team, and I know most importantly your driver is okay, but it's been a tough month for your team.
Yeah, it's really been tough this year. This is the third race in a row that we've been caught up in somebody else's problem, and John Paul, I was just glad to see that he was able to get out of the car, even though they had to help him to the ambulance. This is the third car we've lost this year, and we were really hoping to have a clean race for VisionAire, just being there racing on and go into Indy on a high note. But maybe we've just used up all of the bad for this year, and we'll go to Indy and do a good job. But right now it's time to go sort it out and figure out what I got to do.
Very frustrating finish for Jonathan Bird's team and, of course, the driver, John Paul.
Thank you, Vince. Stan Waddles now getting into the ambulance for the mandatory ride to the hospital to be checked out. And Buddy Lazier, during the yellow, has made a pit stop. There you see Stan Waddles waving to the crowd, and Greg Ray also.
And paybacks are indeed entitled to these drivers, because Buddy Lazier came out in the last one. Greg Ray came out in the other one. Let's go to Calvin Fish.
Well, there's conversation going on now between Scott Harrington and Darryl Soper, the engineer. We're going to put the mic in now.
You got another helmet? You got another helmet?
There's some concern. They believe that Scott didn't hit the wall, and they think he can get back in the car. Why do you need a new helmet, Scott? You lost radio communication?
Yeah, the cord broke on the helmet, and so anyway, we need to get a new helmet on.
What happened out there with JP and Waddles?
It looked like Waddles got in the fence on his own, and looked like JP lost it trying to miss him. I got on the binders and missed it, but then they both started coming across in front of me, and I had to get in the grass, and the grass is wet, and it came around in the grass, and luckily, when I got back on the asphalt, I got on the brakes, locked them up, and it blew the tires out. But we kept it out of the fence, but they wouldn't tow me around because we had flat tires. So
is that right?
We're bringing the car back around on the tow truck, and hopefully we get back in this thing.
You sound like you're out of breath. You've been running around. Hopefully we can get another helmet so you can maintain radio communication. But you think that the car's okay with a new set of tires?
Yeah, it should be. You know, it's just a long run from the other side of the start-finish line to our pit, so we just ran down here to try to get back in. But yeah, the car should be fine. You know, we're struggling a little bit this weekend, but the car was pretty good, so we'll see if we can keep it up.
Well, Scott had a career best 5th place finish at Phoenix, guys. He's currently in the top 10 in points. They want to get back on the road and try and go into Indies in the top 20.
Well, what an effort by Scott Harrington just to get this race team put together in the last couple of weeks before the season began for the Pep Boys Indy Racing League. Greg Ray, the race leader, is pitting. And actually, he's just passing through the pits right now as the yellow is still out. Cleanup continues. Scott Goodyear in 2nd, Eddie Cheever in 3rd, Sam Schmidt in 4th, and Beechler's in 5th. It's the VisionAire 500K, and Buddy Lazier's ready to go back racing. Hope you'll stay with us for much more action. It's the Pep Boys Indy Racing League, the Lowe's Motor Speedway. The location tonight under the lights for the VisionAire 500K. 68 laps complete. Field summary, Greg Ray in 1st. He started in the pole. Look at Eddie Cheevers, climbed up to 3rd. Sam Schmidt also running in the top 5 as well, the Sprint PCS machine. And Big Daddy's Barbecue right up there with Mr. Beechler now in 5th, and Billy Boat having a good run tonight too.
Got all the way up to 3rd, had to drop back to 10th, and he's moved back up into the 6th position, so he's got to climb the ladder a little more.
Lazier now 8th after the pit stop. We're on board with him right now. Mark Dismore 9th, and Robbie McGee, the rookie.
Brand new ride for Robbie McGee, brand new sponsor, Energizer Batteries, signing on board for this former Formula Ford 2000 fella, and this is his first Pep Boys Indy Racing League run, so in the top 10, give him an A.
Yeah, we haven't been paying much attention to him tonight, but he's just hanging in there, doing a good job, staying out of trouble, and that's looks like one thing you have to do tonight is stay out of trouble.
Most definitely. We want to thank Energizer for showing their support of the Pep Boys Indy Racing League, getting on board as a major sponsor here. Eddie Mishner's dropped to 19th, Harrington 21st before the accident. That's the cleanup going on your screen right now. We had an incident with John Paul Jr. and Stan Waddles. We can tell you both drivers have been taken to the infield hospital. They did walk to the ambulance under their own power.
And we were talking about how drivers adapt to different situations, weather, wind, whatever have you. Well, Scott Harrington here all of a sudden became a long-distance runner, trying to get going again.
Let's check in with Calvin Fish. Looks like they've got things back underway for Harrington.
Well, they have. They're trying to turn the car around right now, Jack. The wrecker actually brought the car in backwards. They put 4 new fresh Firestones on the car, and they're hoping to get Scott back out there. There does not appear to be any damage to the car right now. The main concern is with Scott. When he jumped out of the car, he tore all the radio cables on his helmet, so he'll be out of radio communication with the crew, but they're hoping he can get back out there. Severe flat spots on the tires. I'm going to walk over here now and try and grab one of these tires as you look at the car, but we have a real problem here, guys. You can see what occurs when that flat spot occurs at this sort of speed. This is what you see.
Here.
Who the fuck's pulling me? God damn it, I'm low down.
Okay, guys, we'll get back to you.
All right, Calvin. A little intensity down there under the yellow here with the 70 laps, sorry.
What Calvin was talking about, when he flat spotted those tires, he actually flat spotted them right through the cord. There was a big hole in there.
Now let's go back. You know, most drivers have what we call tearaways. Well, let's go back and show you what Buddy Lazier uses to clean his visor. They're pulling down through pit road. Look at that. Just a little handy wipe.
Where do you keep that at, Ari, when you're flying around at 220 miles an hour?
Under your lap, but it's something that is unusual these days because of the tear-off situation.
But let me tell you why. If you noticed when he was doing it, he wasn't actually wiping the outside of his helmet. He was wiping the inside. The dense air here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway at night with the cooler temperatures is beginning to fog the inside of the helmet. Quick thinking on Buddy Lazier's part. Grab that, clean it off. Well, we're not going about, what, 80 miles an hour.
All right, Greg Ray is in the lead, and Goodyear is second. Cheever is third. Lowe's Motor Speedway, 70 laps complete. The VisionAire 500K. We will be back.
Hello.
Welcome back to the VisionAire 500K under the lights here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Charlotte, North Carolina is the place to be tonight. 72 laps complete. We're under yellow right now. The 12th yellow lap right now because of the Stan Waddles accident with John Paul Jr. The cleanup continues. Let's go to Calvin Fish. Calvin?
Well, this stack of tire guys are useless. Look at the flat spots on these, completely through, all the way through the cord. These are the front tires. Scott had to lock it up at 200 miles an hour plus. And the concern right now for the team is whether he damaged the underside of the car, Ari. As real, 200 miles an hour. He's down on the pavement for a little bit. But before we go out to the booth, let's go down to Vince Wells further down pit lane.
Very minor adjustments for the teams running 4th and 5th. Sam Schmidt is 4th, Donnie Beechler 5th, both on the move up, particularly Beechler, who's increased his positions. But Sam Schmidt has made just minor tire pressure adjustments. Beechler gave a little wing in their last pit stop, but they said there's no real need to come in once the pits do open up. It's just a matter of staying out of trouble and keeping away from the debris of some of the other cars that have obviously had mishaps here on the front straight.
Well, it's great to see Sam Schmidt running good tonight. He's not been real racy, and he's doing exactly what he should do. There's a long way to go, and keep all that aggressiveness for the end of the race.
Well, if you've just tuned in, 73 laps complete right now. Greg Ray has been battling Buddy Lazier for the lead. Let's have a little race summary right now.
Well, it's been a fascinating race thus far. Of course, on the start, coming up through the gearbox was Greg Ray, but didn't take long for the caution to be displayed.
Problems along the main straightaway. This is looking Kenny Breck's view as we watch spin by Unser. He got underway once again, and then there was an accident with Davey Hamilton was involved in an accident, and Tice Carlson. Serious passing going on out there. This Greg Ray cutting to the inside for the lead, and then another spin.
That's Robbie Unser, and Robbie wanted to take it easy, have a finish tonight, but it didn't happen. He had an innocent spin at the start, but this one was more serious with contact.
But then Greg Ray found his lead going poof. The guy that was doing the poofing was the 91 in another caution that we're under now. And this was the one that scared all of us.
This was very scary to watch John Paul hit the wall that hard. We heard it up here in the booth. but both drivers, Stan Waddles and John Paul Jr., are okay, so that's great to see.
What a testament to the way these cars have been designed and built. In just 4 short years to survive that kind of an accident, well, I'll tell you, that's terrific. And I'm sure Stan Waddles and John Paul, who had that accident, appreciate it. The other cars behind the wall, Robbie Unser and Tice Carlson.
My big concern watching that crash with John Paul Jr. was the way he hit the wall so hard. I was thinking about his head in first place, but they have great head protection inside these cars. You're totally surrounded by very good and tested padding.
That was part of the update kit in 1999.
74 laps complete. Greg Ray leads us under yellow, the VisionAire 500K. We will be right back. Welcome back to the VisionAire 500K. Dave Calabro along with Jack Arute and Ari Lyodike down in the pit area. Calvin Fish and Vince Welsh have been very busy tonight because we're under caution. A couple of accidents. 77 laps complete right now. And this gentleman right here, what a run he's having. He's a rookie, and this is Robbie McGee. He has battled up to 10th position, and what a story. This guy's dream is to be in the Indy 500.
Well, actually, that was Donnie Beechler, but the guy that you're talking about, back when he was 8 years old, Robbie McGee had a dream, and that dream was to compete in the Indy 500, and he wrote an essay for his school, and that essay said that someday I want to be an IndyCar driver. And Robbie McGee had his dream come true when they made an announcement 2 days ago with his teammate, with his team owner, Dave Conti on the right, McGee on the left, that the Energizer Bunny would be signed for the former Formula Ford 2000 Oval Crown champion. And Robbie McGee, there's the letter, there's the essay that he wrote. He said, I want a black car. My heroes are A.J. Foyt and Johnny Rutherford. Here's the black car then. There's the black car now, and he's in the 10th position right now. This is a fine run for a rookie contender. But, you know, Beechler, the guy you were talking about, he has a new sponsor as well, and he's running very well this evening. I talked to Larry Cahill about it. Big Daddy's Barbecue has gone on the side of Beechler's car. He is posted in the 5th position. That's also a black car. No money has been exchanged there. It's simply stock as we look at Beechler in the Big Daddy's car. Just stock in Big Daddy's. Vince?
Well, Scott Sharp started on the outside of row 1, but he's faded back right now running 7th. His teammate Mark Dismore is 9th for Kelly Racing. And while 7th and 9th certainly aren't bad numbers, they're up running toward the front. Neither car is handling to the driver's liking. Sharp's car, they've made some adjustments with the tire pressure and also some weighing, but right now it's not the car that he would like to have. Dismore's car is getting better with each pit stop. Let's go back upstairs.
Well, along pit row, you see the cars pulling into the pit area. The red flag has come out here at the VisionAire 500K because of the accident. That's the reason for the red flag right now. And this race is going to be stopped momentarily. The field will come to a complete stop in the pit area. Ari, as a driver, this is a situation where you just got to be patient and kind of wait and let it play out.
It's just, you know, you adapt to the situation going on. You park your car, preferably you stay in the car. I like to stay in the car even if they sit out there for half an hour. Don't change anything, and when they go green, go again.
All right, 79 laps complete. Greg Ray is the race leader. Scott Goodyear in second. Eddie Cheever is in third. We'll be back with more of the VisionAire 500 after this. Welcome back to the VisionAire 500K, Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, North Carolina. 79 laps completed, but the race has been red flagged. You see the competitors are back to the pit area. The machines have come to a stop, quiet right now, because there was an accident on lap 61 involving Stan Waddles and John Paul Jr. We were told some debris may have gone into the stands. That's the reason for the red flag right now. We're just going to wait till we have more information to pass along to you so we can give you that information. There you look at Sam Schmidt as he waits. Let's tell you the top 5 quickly here. Greg Ray in first. Scott Goodyear is second. Eddie Cheever has climbed to third. Sam Schmidt fourth. And Eddie Beechler now in fifth. Let's go to Vince Welsh. Vince?
Well, I'm with the leader, Greg Ray, still in the cockpit. And, Greg, obviously it's been a hectic race out there. What's it look like from your perspective? Obviously, you've been running up towards the front most of the night.
No, the car is running very well. There was really no need for us to chase down Buddy. We were as quick as he was, and we still have a long way to go. And you know, I'm not sure exactly what happened to this big accident. I've been told that somebody may be hurt, and that kind of takes the fun out of it when that happens. So it's kind of a lack of focus here. I still have a lot of work to do in front of me if we go green again. But I hope everybody's okay.
Talk about the distraction now that you've sat in the car. Obviously, the race has been red flagged. How difficult is it, and what do you think about it? And as a team, how do you handle this situation?
Well, I mean, again, I just hope everybody in the stands are okay. And, once we go green again, you have to just focus on your job at hand. And, again, the car is going real good. We certainly like to get our first win. And
can you talk about the racing with Buddy? The two of you obviously have been very quick along with Cheever.
Yeah, I mean, the car is doing very, very good. It changes over the long run. Certainly before we had the first yellow, we were showing how quick the car could be, and we were really pulling away. And that's the thing, if you're going to drive fast, you really need to try to put yourself in front of some traffic. Unfortunately, I drove really hard, used up the tires, and Buddy was right there to capitalize on that.
You feel like you've got the stronger car?
I feel like everybody has a good shot. All these cars are running very, very well. And again, it's just going to be a high-speed chess game, and you got to be around at the end.
That's Greg Ray. Let's go to Calvin Fish.
Well, Scott Goodyear is now unbuckling from his car. Scott, it seemed like Buddy Lazier and Greg Ray had a little bit more pace, but you really seem to be biding your time right now.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to do. We made a change that last pit stop and made the car a little bit better. It's still pretty early, though, so we're not panicking yet. Going to make some more changes before we go out again, keep working with some tire pressures and things like that, and get the car to where we need it for the end.
A lot of talk about with the Goodyear tires between the optional and the primary. I understand you started on the optional tire. Are you going to switch to the primary as it gets cooler?
Well, we might give it a try and just see what it's going to do, but right now we're working with some tire pressures and just some things within the car, so I think we might try that. We still got a long ways to go yet.
Okay, thanks, Scott. And Vince Welch has Eddie Cheever standing by.
Eddie Cheever's still in the cockpit here as he's just removed the helmet. Obviously, some pretty fierce racing out there, but your car certainly moved to the front in a hurry. I know you told me before the race that you felt like you had a good car.
We're developing a bad habit of qualifying badly and racing well. I like to turn it around just a little bit and qualify a little bit better, but the car is running very well. It's the first time we've run with the Infinity engine, and it's strong. I think it's hello Infinity right now. So we've got two pretty tough guys ahead of us, and the race is not even started yet.
Yeah, you're in third place behind Greg Ray and Scott Goodyear. Talk about that Infinity, because there's been much made of the switch, particularly you, quite frankly, the Indy 500 winner, a guy who's already won with an Aurora engine this season, making a switch at this time.
I only made the switch because I believe it's a better engine, and I think they have a greater capability right now at this moment in time to give us a product that can compete with Menard's engines and Kelly's engines, and they are two Auroras, and they do their own engines, and they have a lot of support. Infinity has always had a history of being very successful in racing, so I'm convinced that we made the right choice, and with that engine and our Goodyear tires, I'm going to give these two boys ahead of me a very hard time. But I don't really get going to the last 20 laps anyway, so I'm just tootling along right now.
It's your first race with the Infinity. Does it feel different to drive a car powered by the Infinity motor compared to the Aurora? And how is it different?
It's strong. It's got a lot of torque. It's very strong. We're learning. We're still in the learning stages of it, so there's a lot of things we have to understand before we get to Indy. But it has all the ingredients to be an Indy winner, and hopefully tonight will be a Charlotte winner.
Eddie Cheever currently running third. Let's go to Calvin Fish, who's with the fourth place driver.
Well, the fourth place driver is Sam Schmidt in the Sprint PCS car. Sam, car looks good again on full tanks and got a good race setup. I understand you're concerned about some debris.
Yeah, we were just kind of hanging out. We knew it was going to be a long race, a lot of problems, and if we can pass, we've been passing, but Sprint PCS car is running great. But yeah, that last one, we missed all of it on the front straightaway, but the first time they brought us through the pit lane, there was some debris in a shadow that I didn't see, and that cut it. So we were watching the pressures. I knew I hit it. We were just watching the pressures through that whole yellow run, and they weren't going down, so I thought we were okay, and then we just did the inspection. So we go back to yellow. We're probably going to have to pit.
Under the red conditions, you're not allowed to work on the car, so you've effectively got to wait till the field rolls again before you can actually change this left front. Is that correct?
Yeah, we won't have the greatest track position, but I mean, the car's been really hooked up. It's just a matter of saving the tires and, not getting out of hand because it's not the end of the race. So we're still on the lead lap and, just kind of biding our time. The car's running great. I mean, just fantastic.
How do the conditions compare with this afternoon? You got about 20-degree less track temperature. Does that affect the setup?
It doesn't really affect the setup. I mean, our car's continuing to go to push because of the more grip in the rear with the cooler temperatures, but our biggest problem has been restart. I mean, every time I grab a gear, the thing goes sideways, so and then that last time I tried to short shift it a little bit too much and got on it too too soon, short shift, and it bogged, and we got passed by 2. But we're just trying to keep it straight and be around for the end.
Sam Schmidt confident of a good result, but first of all, they need to get that tire fixed, guys. Back upstairs.
You know, Ari, Dave, when I heard Eddie Cheever, I sensed that he was surprised at how well that
Pleasantly
Infiniti.
surprised, yeah, may I say.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago when we heard he was making the switch, I mean, that was a big question. Everybody was asking, why would you go from the proven engine that you won with and make the switch? He says it's nothing about money.
Well, that's some writers actually said it was all about money, and that is the farthest thing from the case. Yes, he has signed a contract that allows him to do some research and development that's added incentive, monetary incentive. But he wasn't going to make the switch unless he thought, hell, as he said, hello, Infiniti, that it was time for it to strike.
And he's right. I mean, you know, everything Nissan has done in the past, you know, with especially IMSA racing. Remember Jeff Brabham just winning everything in sight. And, you know, once they really get their teeth sunk into it, they make it happen.
Hey, a driver that's got his teeth sunk into it tonight is Greg Ray.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in right now, you may be wondering, why is he out of the machine? Well, we're under a red condition. The red flag is out at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, the VisionAire 500K. 79 laps completed. Stan Waddell's involved in an accident along with John Paul. Some debris flew into the stands. We're waiting for an update on that situation for you. And at this time, let's take a look at the race leader right now. Greg Ray, 32 years old, chasing that dream of winning the Indy 500. Here's Jack Arute.
I guess the first memory I have of wanting to drive a race car was probably 3rd grade. You know, everybody watched Speed Racer, and I always fantasized about being Racer X. You know, the guy that you know, snuck into the Indy 500 when the green flag fell, started at the back of the field, won the race, and then disappeared. I just had always dreamed about it and wanted to do it.
For some, his boyish good looks and disarming smile might be a bit deceiving. This businessman could easily live off the success of the Texas Marina that he owns and operates, but racing was something that he simply had to take a shot at.
I used to work from 6 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night and come home and go to bed at 10, and I'd set my alarm clock at 2 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays because they'd show racing repeats. And I remember this little voice popped up, well, if you think you're so good at that, why don't you just go do it? And I couldn't, for the life of me, find a reason why I shouldn't do it.
He set out to realize that dream, convinced that a bit of training at a driving school would help him achieve his goal, the Indianapolis 500.
The instructor said, we want you to all stand up and tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you're trying to do here with the school. And I stood up and said, well, my name's Greg Ray. I'm an entrepreneur from Dallas, Texas. I've never been in a race car, but I want to win the Indy 500. And 40 people laughed their butt off. Lo and behold, by the end of the 3 days, I won the school race.
Undaunted and with high expectations, Ray set out on the road to Indy. In 1992, he was rewarded with an SCCA Formula Ford 2000 championship. But as this young warrior advanced through the ranks, his dream stalled.
You only get 1 or 2 chances where people really are going to notice you. If people start to associate you at the back of the pack, how are you going to get opportunity?
In 1997, Greg Ray made a decision that would affect the rest of his life. He hooked up with his longtime partner, Thomas Knapp, and joined the Indy Racing League. The arrangement brought both to Indianapolis in May.
It's a big place, and it's so historic. Everything you look at, you've seen it on TV for years, you've seen it in the magazines, you've seen it on the front page of the newspaper. It's just this total historic Gothic place. And I remember driving in between turns 3 and turn 4, and there was like a linen truck in front of me. And this linen truck comes down, goes through the tunnel, and I'm right behind the linen truck. And hair starting to stand up on my hands and my arms, and I'm looking around going, wow, this is cool. This is it.
But the dream would have to wait a bit longer. On pace to qualify, the team ran out of fuel with just a half a lap to go. He eventually qualified 30th, but his starting spot led to other problems on race day.
I remember when we pulled in and we got out because it started raining pretty big, there was probably 2 or 3 pounds of sand in my car from the start of this race. I mean, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is the cleanest, smoothest piece of racing pavement on the planet. But when you have, 33 ground effects cars running at 220-something miles an hour, it literally picks up everything you can pick up. And it deposits in the back row, I guess, all the cars. I mean, I had sand, I had a beach in my car.
Last year, Ray and Knapp returned to Indianapolis. They chose to wait for better track conditions as Billy Boat set the pole speed. And with just a little more than an hour left, Greg Ray took his shot.
Oh, qualify for the center of the front row. If he can keep this up, if he can pick it up, then he's front row right into the wall.
I really wasn't thinking about pole. And when I was in the race car, I wasn't thinking about pole. I was just thinking about going as fast as I could. I mean, I didn't even look at the speedometer, I didn't look at the times. It didn't matter. And I was going for it.
Driving the wheels off his car, Ray missiled his machine into the front row, just missing Boat's pole-setting effort.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Though gearbox trouble eventually knocked Greg out of the race, he did lead his first laps at the Brickyard, and that momentum carried him into Texas.
Still down to a car length, less than a car length now across the start-finish line. Greg Ray a little higher this time. Last lap.
In the grass. Greg Ray in the grass.
I think a lot of people, from any racing series and any newspaper and any announcer have said that that race in Texas was absolutely one of the best races they've ever seen. And it was, it was a wheel-to-wheel, full tilt boogie, pull your guns out and go to town. I mean, it was a race.
Now about 2 car lengths separating first and second. They flash by now 199 laps, 200 laps now complete, 8 laps to go. And they have a slower car in front. Greg Ray has him.
Nice move, nice move.
Traffic, and he gets by using Buzz Calkins. He's your new leader. Greg Ray into turn 3.
They had 100,000 people at Texas Motor Speedway. I'm the hometown boy that sat on the front row with Indy 500, and so a lot of people there were cheering for Greg Ray. And I don't think they all realized it was 208 laps, because on lap 200, I was leading. And I think everybody in the grandstands thought I won the race. They all cheered, ah. So we kept on going. They go like, what are they doing? They're still going. Why are they still racing? But again, it wasn't a victory. But that's as close as we've come so far. A second place for our small team was a victory. That was a big boost for the team.
This year, Greg has joined Team Menard, sliding into the seat once occupied by Tony Stewart. Thomas Knapp is again at his side, and the dream of an Indy 500 victory certainly seems within reach.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it 100 times. I think every driver that wins it has seen it 100 times in his mind. I don't know who it's going to be more important to. It's going to be more important to John Menard. It's going to be more important to Greg Ray. It's going to be more important to my mom. All I know is it's, for anybody, it's a very special moment. But yeah, I visualize that. I can see that, and have high expectations.
Dave, Greg Ray is a very, very special young man to have the wherewithal to tell all of his classmates the first time he ever drove a race car that I'm going to Indy. And he's been there, and now he's done that.
That's exactly right. He's riding in first position right now. We are under red. The red flag is out at the Lowe's Motor Speedway right now, the VisionAire 500K. Let's show you after 79 of 208 scheduled laps. Greg Ray's in first. Scott Goodyear in second. Cheever is third. Sam Schmidt has climbed to fourth, and Mr. Beechler now fifth. And here's 8 through 10. After 79 laps, we'll be back. We're back at the VisionAire 500 in Charlotte, North Carolina. The race red flagged right now for an incident. 79 laps complete. Donnie Beechler has climbed all the way to fifth, and he's with our Calvin Fish.
He certainly has had a great run. Started in 10th, up in the top 5, Donnie. What's it like running under the lights here at Lowe's Motor Speedway?
It's almost better than daytime. It is. They've really got this place lit up well. So as far as the sun being in your eyes, we can't complain about that.
You're used to running under the lights, but probably not this bright, correct?
That's right, yeah. The darkness and the mud and everything else that goes along with dirt track racing.
Seems like you've really struck up a good relationship with Gilles Villiers, and you guys really got a good car underneath you now. Are you going to be able to do the full season and run strong at Indy?
Yeah, that's really what we needed last year, was someone who come on our team and give us that edge that we didn't have. And we were kind of feeding off a few people, but we needed to hire an engineer that knew what he was doing. And he is on for the rest of the year, and we plan on running the full series.
The tire temperatures tonight is a concern when you sit here under caution, when we go back to green flag racing. How much consideration is that for you when you actually accelerate through the gears? Do you really need to take a couple of laps to get some heat into those tires?
Yeah, I try to, and I think maybe the first lap, I think that's probably what happened, is they jump on it too quick, and it is very cool out here tonight. And they even stress that in the drivers' meeting to us. So, you know, if you spin, it's your own fault, because you've been warned, and you do need to take extra time. We actually took an extra lap, warm-up lap, before the race even started, just to get the tires up to temperature. So I'm concerned about it. I just try to take it a little bit easy.
Okay, great run tonight, and Vince has another story, guys.
Well, one of the great stories of the night has been the run of Buddy Lazier. Lazier started a little towards the back of the pack, but he certainly made his way toward the front in a hurry. He's challenged for the lead, and right now sits 7th, but you've got a better car than 7th place.
Oh, I think so. My guys have worked so hard, you know, with our Delta Faucet Coors Light Dallara. It's a wild day. It's cold, and you got to make sure you got heat in the tires. I think we've got a really good race car. I was I think the first one through the incident here, and there's just carbon fiber bouncing everywhere. So I felt a tire get cut down, and while we were leading, under the yellow, the tire went flat. I continued on for several laps with a flat tire, but we opted to come in and change it and, you know, get ready to run here. So
talk about some of the battle up front, because there's been some good racing tonight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's really great. There's so much talent in this series, and the series is so evenly placed equipment-wise. So it really comes down to strategy and your lines and what you're able to do that the others don't. And you know, we've got something, I think, for everybody. You never can, you don't have an advantage in this series. This is a tough series, but we're pretty tough tonight. We got a pretty good car.
Buddy Lazier, he's already won once before here in 1997. Looks to do it again here tonight.
All right, thumbs up from Buddy Lazier, riding in 7th position. And after 79 of 208 laps, let's run you through the top runners right now. Ray's in 1st. Sharp in 6th position. Lazier 7th. Dismore has made it to 8th. Kenny Breck is now 10th. And Robbie McGee, the rookie, at 9th. Billy Boat 11th. Raul Boisel, Stefan Gregoire, and Robbie Buell now in 15th. And John Hollinsworth started last. He's in the top 15 as well. Salazar 17th. Johnny Unser 20th in this field. Roberto Moreno is at 19th. 79 of 208 laps. The VisionAire 500K from the Lowe's Motor Speedway. We will have much more for you in an update on why the red flag coming up right after this. Stay with us. It's the VisionAire 500K from the Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina. The race red flagged right now for an accident in turn 4. Some debris flew into the stands. We're waiting for an update, and Calvin Fish is standing by in the pit area with one of the competitors. Calvin?
Well, Kelly Racing have really been struggling a little bit in the races this year, qualifying very well. Scott Sharp currently 6th. How's the setup tonight, Scott?
Well, certainly, obviously not quite where we want it to be. Chasing a little bit. It's real slippery out there for us. We've just trying to utilize each pit stop to make the car better and better. The last pit stop, the Delphi guys made some great changes, got us a little bit more competitive, picked up a little bit of speed, a little bit comfort, but we have a little ways to go.
I think the main concern for you is down in turn 4 with the bumps. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. I tend to run a higher line through there, which I find is a little bit smoother. I'm pretty amazed at the kind of throttle and speed some of those guys can carry on the bottom of the racetrack, because it would feel like off-roading if I did that.
Mike Horvath, your engineer and actually chief mechanic, said you were trying to work with tire pressure, soften that up a little bit, but that means that it takes longer for the car to come in.
It does. The biggest thing, we don't like the slide. You know, the car really has a pretty good slide, and it can get a little loose on us down in 1 and 2. And I think even if we can gain more grip down here, we'll be faster. So if you've got to deal with the bumps a little bit, that's not too bad.
Kelly Racing, they hope they have an opportunity to make a couple more changes, get Scott to the front of the pack. Vince Welch has another story.
Well, here's the brain thrust of Dick Simon Racing. Dick Simon, the big boss, and the driver, Stefan Gregoire, and chief mechanic Richie Simon. Stefan has really made a nice run tonight, moved all the way up from 27th to 13th. What's been the secret?
Well, we've been doing a good job. The team has been doing very, very good pit stops. The strategy have been working good for us. I've been, you know, I took it easy a little bit at the beginning because it's kind of cold right now, so it's hard to get temperature in the tires. But once, after 5, 6 laps, it's okay. And we've been communicating a lot with the team to set up the race car because it's not 100% perfect. It's never perfect, actually. But we do a good job right now. I'm very happy.
You've gone to a rather different and extreme suspension change. Maybe talk a little bit about that and how that's affected your car.
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't have more time because I'm sure it's a very good decision from Dick Simon to have tried it. Unfortunately, we got only 24 laps practice before the qualifying. I mean, we just didn't get enough time to really have a good handle of it. So we're still experimenting it right now. So it's not perfect, but I think it's going to work.
You like this racetrack. You finished in the top 10 the previous 2 races. Does it suit your style?
That's true. I like it. I mean, I've been top 10 the last 2 races, so why not today? I mean, today is going to be another top 10 for sure.
Yeah, Stéphane Grégoire having a good run for Dick Simon tonight. Currently, he's 13th after moving all the way up from the 27th starting position.
All right, thank you, Vince. As the red flag is out here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. The red flag is out due to some spectator injuries. We will have an announcement coming up from the VisionAire 500K when we return. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Pep Boys Indy Racing League at the VisionAire 500 under the lights here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The race, red flag right now. The machines aren't quiet. We had an accident in lap 61, and we are waiting for an announcement. There have been some injuries to spectators, and Ari, you hate to see this happening right now. It's a tough situation right now. And in fact, let's go to Jack Arute right now. Jack?
Well, Dave, I'm with H.A. Humpy Wheeler, who presides over the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Can you update us?
Yeah, Jackie, we've made the decision due to the fact that of the terrible accident up in the 4th turn and the debris that went in the grandstand that we'll not continue the race. The race is canceled as of right now. And we ask everybody for their patience here in the grandstand in leaving the speedway. And we ask prayers for those who have been injured, and it's a terrible thing that we had to call a race. Never had to do this before, but in respect to those people, I think it was the thing to do. And talking to the Indy Racing League people, Tony George and Leo Mel, they felt the same way, and it's just a humane thing to do.
Humpy, your crew went to work very quickly, had it all under control, but some things are not in your control, and that's what happened here.
Yeah, it was a terrible thing, and I just very regrettable, and it's something that will live with us for a long time.
It's a memory that all of us will not quickly put out of our mind, Dave.
All right, thank you, Jack Arute. A very somber time here at the VisionAire 500 Lowe's Motor Speedway, as this event has been red flagged and called off here tonight because of injuries suffered during an accident on lap 61. Again, Stan Waddles and John Paul Jr. on lap 61 made contact with the wall in turn 4. Some debris went into the stands, injuries to some fans, and so this event has been red flagged and canceled here tonight. And all right, this is a tough situation.
You would have to think that it's very serious, so this is all something that concerns all of us. After all, we're one big family, the fans, the drivers, the mechanics, everybody. So right now the drivers are disappointed that this bad accident has happened, and they're also disappointed that they can't continue to race. It was certainly a good race, but we're not going to see the end of it tonight.
That's right. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to those who were injured here tonight at the Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina, the VisionAire 500K. I'm Dave Calabro, along with Jack Arute and Ari Lyndike, Calvin Fish in the pit area, along with Vince Welsh. I'm Dave Calabro. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for our patience.